Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to, I don't know why, I always clear my throat before I start. I don't know, I don't think it's ever going to change. But hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video. And in this video, it's coloring digitally. I did a video prior to this, and it was coloring for beginners, basically coloring traditionally for beginners. And in this video, I'm going to do another coloring exercise, but it's coloring digitally. And so here we go. So this painting, this piece is, I just went over it with some inks. I sort of tuned down and I'll probably take that down a bit more. I tuned down the pencils, and I'll do that just a little bit more. And then I just did the inks just so that way we could have a darker outline. And now we're going to do coloring digitally. And I may talk a little bit about layers, but I don't want this video to be too long. But basically, I've already went ahead and I've made some layers, and just to save some time. And so that way, skin color, hair, lips, eyes, all on a separate layer. And in my layering video, I'll talk more about why I choose to do that. Some other artists, they'll just create multiple layers or just work with a few layers. And so anyway, so benefits of just coloring digitally if you can. And I forgot again. And I'm on a Cintiq, but by no means do you need a Cintiq. You can buy any drawing tablet, and it probably will take a little time to get used to looking at a screen while you're drawing off screen. So but once you get familiar with that feeling of, okay, you're not seeing your hands on screen, you'll become more accustomed to it. So I'm not going to color the entire piece, just maybe from her shoulders upward. And as you can see, I'm going over most things. I try to keep it, although I do primarily work digitally, I still try to maintain some traditional disciplines and coloring within the lines. I just think that's a good practice. I really think you should start traditionally, so that way you really develop a good foundation of the medium, whether it's if you're just doing penciling or inking, whatever it may be, charcoals, pastels. You develop a strong foundation traditionally, so when you start working digitally, you can transfer some of those strong traditional foundations. And so, but one of the key things with working digitally is I just made an outline of the color space that I want to color in, and I see that I missed a spot. And now I can just hit my fill tool and bam, so that's fill. And I can go to, and this is kind of called blocking out your colors. So I'll go to here, and let's say for now, so like a dirty blonde. You know what? Let's get kind of crazy. Let's go blue. And you know what? Sorry, let's go even crazier. Let's go red. We'll do red. We'll do red. Because, you know, she has kind of like a punk rock haircut. So let's do red. And honestly, only because of this video, I'm going really this quickly. I still try to exercise good stroke discipline. And by that, where I'm not overlapping so much. Because although I do a lot of my work digitally, I still like creating stuff traditionally. And I don't want to create bad habits since I'm working digitally. So even like going over her airing, I wouldn't typically do that. But you know, I'm not gonna speed up the video, and so I want to take some shortcuts and some liberties to get this going. So I'm going to use the fill, and I've probably left a few gaps, so it's going to fill the whole screen. I'm going to undo that, fill that side. I guess I'm still missing some gaps. So you want to make sure that you have all your gaps covered. And by gaps, I mean you want to make sure that your outline is fully covered. Otherwise, the program will just simply fill in the entire screen. So I have that. So there we go. Bam. So I got our hair done. Let me just create a quick layer here. I'll just call that shirt. And perhaps just make that shirt blue. There we go. Blue. So basically, coloring digitally, I mean, you use your same stroke, whatever, how you normally color. I mean, some things are certainly different. I mean, the Cintiq, and this program I'm using is called Clip Art Paint, or Clip Studio Paint. And so certain programs would actually allow you to tilt your pen, your stylus, and then give you that side shading. This not so much, because this is a program that's really based with comic drawing. Of course, I can go light and then thick and then light again, stuff like that, and thick. So I still have the pressure sensitivity, but anyway, I'm getting beside that point. So I'm gonna go back to here and color in her eyebrows, right? And then eyes, let's go with some pressing blue eyes. So, and as you can see, I'm painting over, and that's why I like to create separate layers, because that way I can, if I want to change that eye color, I can just simply, or darken it, I can just simply do that, and it's changed, and just come back and put in the white pupils or whatever like that. So bam. And you see that? I mean, if you just time the drawing of the coloring of her hair, skin color, I mean, that was just a matter of a few minutes. If I was doing this digitally, it would have taken way much more time, and I would have to be a lot more precise with my stroke and my coloring technique. And so, but yeah, so there you go. Let me just skin, and then also I could pick the drop tool, tear drop. It's not called tear drop, I forget. Let me see, does it highlight, does it show? Eyedropper. So I can select, bam, and so now in my color palette it comes up as the color that I want, so I don't have to try to create that color again, and then I can just color that in some more, right? So there you go. And so her lips, you can go to her lips, And let's do a very light pink. And I can zoom in. For whatever reason, my remote is just acting up. And I can go ahead and color in her lips, her lip shade. All right, so bam, so right there. And then so however airing, what I'll do, I'll create another layer again, and I'll name that accessories, put access for short, and let's give her an airing. And let's go kind of gold. Did I pick it? Okay, so I'm gonna have to bring that up against everything, so that's on the top. So there we go. Have a gold airing. Bam. And then of course, like I said, this is really rough. You would definitely want to make sure that your lines are tight. But like I said, I don't want the video to be too long. So there you go. Quick coloring. So you're blocking in all of your colors. And now what I'm going to show you is, again, one of the benefits of just coloring digitally. Because you can, if you really want to get, depending on what type of work you're doing. So this was just a sketch. And if this was just going to be like a comic sketch too as well, I wouldn't add really that much more detail to it. But let's just say you were creating like a portrait and you really want to add some more detail. I'm going to go to here, use the eyedropper, select that color, and I'm going to come down here and create a darker shade and come in here a bit, and then decrease my nib size, and then add like some hair strands, excuse me. So you can do that too. If you were doing something a lot more detailed, you can do that, and maybe add some loose strands just to add a bit of flair to it. Maybe one across the face like that. If that was something that you wanted to do, you have that option as well. It's not something that I necessarily want for this piece, so I'm not doing that. But just trying to show you just the various options you can choose from. So now I'm going to do highlights and shading, and this is what and after this we'll end the video. So I'm going to do shading. I like to do my shading first and my highlights last, because my shading determines where the light direction is coming from, and then my highlights just simply amplify the light direction. So let's just say light source is coming maybe from both ends, this direction, and maybe from the top as well. So I've already created the shadow layer, and I've actually chosen the multiply for the shadow area, and by that I mean it will automatically darken the areas that I want to apply the shadow to. So okay, perhaps, okay, I always forget which one. Okay, so here goes shadow. Did I change it again? All right, I don't know why. That's okay. So shadow. So here you go. So I've chosen that, and so that's it. Now if I'm like, you know what, that's not working, and this is why you create a separate layer. I'm like, that's just not the right shade for that skin tone. I can choose a shade color, and I'm like, nope, that's not it either. And I could choose one. I'm like, you know what, not that. And then, you know what, I'm gonna go with this, right? And then you can add your shade points where you believe the light is going to hit from. And this is all in a separate layer. You can add your different shade points. And again, and working digitally, it just gives you that benefit of, you know what, if there's something I don't like, let's say I wanted to apply a massive shade point right here, but I'm like, ooh, wow, that doesn't work. You can just simply undo, bam, and it's gone. So many benefits working, just coloring, I should say, digitally, you know, and so. And again, with like the other video that I said with the traditional coloring, just play around with different, depending on your program, play around with the different options that the program affords you, so that way, you know, you can be better accustomed to what the program is all about. I honestly think the shading is a bit too dark for a skin tone, but we'll just leave it there. And then sometimes the shading can work in, because the shading is above all the other layers. So I can come in here, and as you can see, that's shading as well. I didn't choose a different color scheme, but if I wanted for that to be darker, I can choose another color scheme, and then there you go. Now that's darker. But I'm in the same shadow layer, and that's helping me create the shadows that I want. And there's a shortcut too. Like if you wanted to, you can simply use a shortcut, draw out where you want to shade, and then bam. And now that whole area there is shaded as well. So a lot of shortcuts with just working digitally, and you just, it is such a wide, vast area that you can just play around with, and just see where it takes you. So those are the shadow. I'm going to hit the highlights, and if I can, it's not. Is it color dodge? Maybe. So I'm going to use the highlights option, and automatically it'll decide, okay, the highlights for that. And then if you wanted that lighter, you can lighten the tone, and then you have more of that color burn effect. And then same thing with skin tone as well. You can add your, I say like that, that's really too strong, and so I would lay that down, and so that's a color burn. So I don't want that, that's too strong. So I'm going to change that to overlay. That's what I wanted. And then overlay, see, that's a softer color. And that's why I'm saying it's imperative just to play around with your program, and that way you'll know exactly what your program can offer. So yeah. So there you go. Some highlights. I don't want a video to be too long. I know I keep saying that, but I don't. But that's one of the benefits of working digitally. You can add shadows wherever you want. You can add your lighting however you want. You can get creative with your lighting. If you wanted this to be full on a light reflection, you can do that. Full highlight. Use the fill tool. And again, I guess I'm leaving a gap behind. You don't want that. Or again, you can use your lasso tool, draw where you want the highlight to go, hit the fill tool, and bam, you have that full highlight shade, the highlight reflection of the light. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also be sure to check out my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Michelot Comics. You can also go to my website, which is michelolully.com. If you want to support what I do, you can go to my Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Michelolully. Thanks again. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any other suggestions or tips or other areas of art you would like for me to cover and I'm able to do so, put those down in the comment section. And until that time, have a great afternoon, evening, night, day. Until next time.